Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the problem with Asia. So for this video, I'm going to explain the problem with Asia when it comes to their work culture, which even though Asia is a magnificent, beautiful part of the world and have contributed a lot to the world and so on and so forth, the truth is like every place, it has its flaws, and that's what I'll be discussing today, specifically, of course, relating to its issue with how its work culture works, whether it comes to school or actually having a job, okay? With the point of this video being to serve as a lesson for any nation that wants to develop, to not make the same mistakes Asia makes, so they can do the best they can do, okay? So now that I mention that, let's get started. So when it comes to the problem with Asia's work culture, as I was getting at earlier before, is it simply down to the fact that they overwork people. Now, even though, of course, down to common sense and just basic public perception about Asia, to be quite blunt and honest with you, and just in general, more specifically about work, you know, people tend to have a mindset that the harder you work means the more likely you are to be the best of the best you can be, okay? Like if you want to become really good at something, you have to obviously work non-stop, like 10 hours a day, like 6 to 7 days a week, and so on and so forth. If you want to become good, let's just say, for example, maybe a good fighter or whatever you can imagine, you have to work non-stop, okay? And so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, like a lot of things in life, when you actually get past looking at the face value, you realize it's actually not so simple, okay? And the truth of the matter is, when it comes to Asia's work culture, it is destroying Asia, okay? Whether it relates to the young people like school, or even just down to the people who are adults and have jobs, obviously, it is absolutely destroying Asia, okay? And that's what I'm trying to tell people, so you don't make the same mistake Asia's making, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, you know, to further elaborate on my point, working non-stop for something does not necessarily guarantee the best quality, okay? Everyone always thinks that, you know, like the more harder you work, the this and that, the better you're going to become at something. But the truth of the matter is, like anything, you have to take time to actually understand and, you know, and to be more specific, comprehend the overall thing you're doing. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to, of course, you know, learning something, okay? Just saying, okay, I'm just gonna spend my time 24/7, you know, just working on drawing to be the best I can be at it. You know, of course, there's some plenty of other skills when we're using drawing as an example, okay? I'm just gonna draw 24/7 to be the best at it. The truth of the matter is, if you just work like 8, 9, 10 hours and you don't put a lot of time and effort, of course, into learning other things, like understand the concept of it, like all the fundamental things that there are to draw, which pretty much fall in the category of, you know, animals, trees, buildings, you know, machines like cars and stuff like that. So pretty much you could say transportation type you know, machines or something, whatever you like to call it, okay? Whether it could be for flying or for being on the ground, you know, when it comes to that type of transportation device, whatever you like to imagine, you know, calling it for that matter. You know, there's, to sum up what I'm trying to get across here, is there's a few main types of things you want to draw. And the more you actually develop your understanding of how to draw those things, those fundamental things, you realize quickly, I'm going to do a lot better at drawing them than obviously if I just say I'm just going to draw the whole thing. Like, you want to understand, you want to be more specific, get an overall comprehension of what you're doing, okay? Just saying I'm going to work non-stop is actually a very foolish way of thinking. It does not necessarily mean you are going to be the best of the best you can be at something. It can actually fuck things up a lot. And the thing is, you know, when it comes to this way of thinking, you know, I notice a lot of politicians, you know, specifically in the West, and of course, to be more specific, conservatives tend to praise that way of thinking, but that's actually dumb, because not only does it create a society of people that is burnt out, and of course the fact that they're learning, the way they're learning is not the most efficient way because they're just practicing nonstop, it also is resulting in a declining population. Every country in Asia, specifically East Asia, is having a massive population decline. China's having a population decline. Korea's having a population decline. Taiwan is, Japan is, and that's because their people are so freaking overworked that they don't even have time to really spend time with their families, specifically when they have a job. And also, as a result of their hard work culture, they also have a very high suicide rate as well. So that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here, which of course, obviously contributes to their population declining, because most people commit suicide tend to be younger people, and of course younger people are committing the most amount of suicide, and they're the ones who are obviously the future of the society. Then of course you're gonna it's gonna have a massive effect on the population numbers of the country. Common sense 101, to be quite blunt and honest with you. So the truth of the matter is, they're not doing very well, okay, at all. Their countries are falling apart because of this hard work culture, and their way of teaching people how to become good at something is not even a proper way it's supposed to work. So the left wing's way of work, in general, is actually better, to be quite blunt and honest with you. What's left, I think, is a very more logical way of thinking instead of a conservative way of thinking, because the left, we're more, in general, more in favor of trying to think logically instead of just saying, or just work non-stop. That way of thinking is so stupid. Besides, if that way of thinking is so stupid, or say it was so true, my bad. But you get the point, okay? If that way is thinking so true, then why exactly, did Asia, at least most of Asia for that matter, excluding Japan, get smashed so badly when the West conquered? Because it's just to be more specific, it's just like that old Chinese martial arts kung fu movies, okay, which you've seen numerous million times, at least if you've watched a bunch of them. There's a lot of lessons that they have, and one of the lessons that they have is that just because you practice a bunch of moves or something, which kind of relates to the topic we're talking about. Definitely it does, actually, to be honest with you, just because you know a bunch of fighting moves, okay? And this actually did happen at one point in history. There was martial arts fighters who thought because they knew anywhere from hundreds, thousands of fighting combos, yada yada yada, whether it could be for direct fighting or even with weapons, that it made them the best, most invincible warriors. And they came across a soldier, who probably literally only had a few weeks basic training, who just happened to have a gun, with only basic training for that matter. And a martial arts expert goes running towards him thinking, oh, I'm gonna win. The guy just pulls out a gun, he's dead without even that much effort. And that's the point I'm trying to get here. The best way to optimize the best quality work is to actually think of the best idea, instead of just saying, oh, working nonstop is the best way, okay? To be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? Because that way of thinking is just so outdated. And I'm not saying you can't work hard, you definitely do want to work hard for that matter. At least if you're serious about anything, there should be a minimum of at least 3 hours, 5 days a week, to be quite blunt and honest with you. But you also have to spend some time using your head as well. But Asia doesn't teach people to think that way. It teaches people to think in a way that's actually just be the best you can be by working non-stop. But you have to also have time to come up with ideas. If you're just working non-stop, how the hell are you going to come up with an idea that might be conceptually better than the idea that's already been established? And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here, okay? So in short, to sum up my video, that is the point I want to make in the video, and the lesson that there is to learn for any nation that wants to develop, you have to use your head. Just saying I'm gonna work non-stop and blah 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 blah, and all that stuff does not necessarily guarantee you're gonna be the best you can be at something, okay? To be the best you can be, you have to come up with good ideas. You have to give people the time to come up with ideas. And to be more specific, you only need a small percentage of the population to be really intelligent for that matter. You don't have to have a society where everybody's like super intelligent. Because, because to be honest with you, when it comes to running any society, it's always a small portion of people anyway who are going to make the society run anyway. And most jobs are require basic level intelligence. So you don't have to be extremely highly qualified. So all you need to do is have a society that's more enthusiasm based, like a small percentage that do something because they love to do it, and make them focus on developing the best idea instead of just saying, oh, I'm just going to work super hard. And you will avoid the issues Asia's having because, man, they're not doing well at all right now. And that's the truth. So, anyway, this is my video. This is all to say. I hope you enjoyed it. And simply put, I'm out. So, bye.